So thank you for joining us and welcome to the Cal Poly Hawaii Welcome Event. Congratulations on your admissions to Cal Poly, and I just wanted to welcome you all here today. My name is Teria Matsuda. I am the admissions representative for Hawaii. I'm actually based on Oahu, so I know I've met some of you through Zoom over this last fall and spring, and so I'm glad that you're here today. We're going to have some great panelists today to speak to you a little bit about their experiences at Cal Poly. So it'll be a great way for you to learn a little bit more about Cal Poly and hopefully make that final decision coming up, which is needs to be done by May 1st. But I just wanted to let you know that what's going to happen today is that we're going to be shutting down the chat function right now. And we want you to use the Q&A. If you have any questions, you can write that into the Q&A section. Now, if you want to ask a question, you can put in the Q&A function. We're going to be doing a live Q&A afterwards, after our presentation today, and we will be answering those questions live for you. What we want to do today is also congratulate you on your admissions. And I wanted to show this quick little video to show how excited we are for you. Hopefully that was an exciting video for you. And again, congratulations. So today we're going to have this panel, and it's consisting of current students, alum, and our Vice President for Student Affairs. And so Bryson Shishido is our current student, and he is a computer engineering major. Emily Trong is a current student, and she's a computer science major. Chris Hong is an alumnus, and he graduated in architecture. And he lives in Hawaii now, and he's from Hawaii, so great, and he moved back as well. We have Nate Garner, who's a current student in economics. And we have Keith Humphrey, who is our Vice President for Student Affairs. So you'll get to hear from all of them, and they'll be able to share information about their experiences at Cal Poly. So we're gonna be starting it off by hearing from Bryson. Hi, Bryson.
Hi, I'm Bryson Shishido. I'm a third-year computer engineering major. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm from Mililani, Oahu, and I went to Mililani High School. One of the things you hear a lot about Cal Poly is the whole learn by doing, and it is something that you're going to hear a lot, is something that you're going to do a lot. And the biggest example I have of that is in my first quarter, I was already soldering things, and we were coding from day one. And although it may not seem like that big of a deal, like you'll be thinking, oh, a lot of other colleges do that, or you'll do some of these things in high school. I feel like it really is important in college just in general, because I've had a lot of friends who will go into a major. Like I had a friend who went to mechanical engineering, and within like the first quarter, she realized that she did not like mechanical engineering. She could do the classes, she could make the calculations, do everything with that, but she realized she just really didn't like it. And she swapped to animal science, and she's in love with that major now. So I feel like it's one of those things where you hear it and you're like, oh, cool, I don't really care. But I feel like it does make a difference. And I see it all the time with my friends who will be swapping majors or realize that they really did pick the right major. Another aspect is about like clubs and student life in that regard. I'm part of Huio Hawaii, which is the Hawaii Club for Cal Poly. I am the culture ambassador, which just means that I'm helping to teach the current students about Hawaii, the culture of it, modern and like true Hawaiian culture, everything with that. And I'm also helping with to do our cultural events. We have them throughout the year, like Culture Fest, Polycultural Weekend, which I don't know if you guys were a part of, but it's basically where you go to Cal Poly for a weekend and see what school life is like. You live with the current students and you just see Cal Poly in its truest form. So I do a lot of that kind of stuff. And Hawaii Club is just a place where you can go to hang out with people from Hawaii, people who want to learn about Hawaii, or just people who want to hang out. It's a really chill place. We are one of the smaller cultural clubs on campus. There are a lot of them on campus. We have Japanese Student Association, we have Bursa, which is Burmese students, Chinese Student Association, all types of clubs who try to fill that need for your home away from home. So if Hawaii Club doesn't fill your need, hopefully there's something else out there that will. And yeah, it really does help to go to these clubs. I didn't join Hawaii Club at first. I kind of wanted to get away from Hawaii, which is why I went to Cal Poly. So I didn't gravitate towards them first. I gravitated towards other clubs. But one day I just walked into the Hawaii Club room and I just got along with people, and then here I am now. And then I guess the biggest question a lot of people had, at least when I was picking what college I went to, was why Cal Poly over anyone else? And for me, it was when I just went out to campus for the first time when I was visiting colleges, it just felt right. I don't think you'll know immediately. I feel like it's just a feeling you get. And it's really hard to describe. And I've always heard that when I was picking my college, but it just feels right. And I hope you all have that feeling, or if you don't have it with Cal Poly, I hope you find that somewhere else. So yeah, thank you all.
Thanks, Bryson. And now we'll have Emily talk about her experiences at Cal Poly.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Strong. I'm a second-year computer science student at Cal Poly, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am born and raised here in Oahu, and I graduated from Sacred Hearts Academy back in 2019. So first off, I would like to say congratulations to everyone on your acceptance to Cal Poly. You know, times have been pretty tough this past year, and being able to get into such a prestigious school is definitely something you should be proud of. So give yourself a little pat on the back. As I mentioned earlier, I am a second-year computer science student. So a lot of the clubs that I am a part of are more STEM-based. This includes the Society of Women Engineers, Women in Software and Hardware, as well as the Cal Poly SpaceX Hyperloop competition team. These clubs really allow you to meet new students, especially those in your majors, and you're also able to meet students who are upperclassmen, so you can ask them advice on like what professors to take or what classes to take, and also how to like find internships or full-time jobs. I was a first-year student in 2019, so around the time when COVID started to hit. But before then, I guess I can talk a little bit about the move-in process. So the move-in was pretty smooth. You will book an appointment, a time slot on like when to move in, and then you will go through orientation as well as Week of Welcome. So Week of Welcome is an event where an upperclassman really introduces you to SLO, and you do activities to meet other people and really make this place your new home. Overall, I would say the reason why I chose Cal Poly was because of their Learn by Doing concept. And I know like a lot of people say that Cal Poly is really known by Learn by Doing. And it is true. Most of your lectures will have lab components where you can apply what you learn in the classroom, all the theory, all the ideas, and put it into real life. And there's a reason why big name companies such as like Microsoft, Apple, and Google, Amazon hire students for both internships and full-time jobs. It's because our students really know what they're doing. So again, welcome to Cal Poly, and I wish you the best of luck on your decision.
Hi, thank you, Emily. Next up, we do have Chris, who's our alumnus in architecture.
Hi, everyone. As Emily was saying, congratulations to all of you. This is a big deal, major milestone in your guys' lives. And I wanted to congratulate all of you on the acceptance. So I'm here to talk about kind of the other side, and Emily kind of mentioned it a little bit, but on the graduation side and finding a job, the learn by doing is almost priceless, especially if you're looking for a job in California. Now, specifically speaking about architecture, a lot of the firms specifically will chase after Cal Poly students just because of their job ready from day one. And I'm saying this not just as alumni, but I serve on the Dean's Leadership Council, and I have continued involvement with the school. And I've also teach architecture at the University of Hawaii and have been involved with classes at both at the University of Washington and the University of Oregon. So I do have, although relatively small, ability to compare several architecture schools. I can definitely say that Cal Poly students are very well prepared when they enter the job force. But what this learn by doing really means is not just the lab work. It's not just that you have experience doing some of the things, but I think it gives you the confidence more so than anything. And when you enter in and after you graduate, there's not, Cal Poly alumni are not the same as USC alumni or UCLA or some of the other bigger schools. It's almost like a quiet pride that we all have, that we know that no challenge is going to be too tough, and we know that we're capable and that we'll have calm heads in solving any solutions. So I would say the benefit of being at Cal Poly is just the experience, confidence, that will prepare you for no matter what you want to do, and no matter if you stick with the major you originally start with, or if you change it up, or if you want to get into something altogether different. But I think that hands-on experience and self-confidence that no challenge is too big is definitely applicable to many different aspects of life. So congratulations again.
Thank you, Chris. And now we will be hearing from Nate, who's our current student, and he's majoring in econ. And he's going to share all about his first year experience with you.
Hello, everyone. I want to congratulate you guys on getting admitted to Cal Poly. It's a big accomplishment. And yeah, so I've been here on campus since fall quarter. I'm very happy I chose to live on campus, as we had an option to either stay home or be here. Yeah, I'm super happy to be here. Right now, it's a little bit chillier than the springtime or than the fall time. Right now, it's been sometimes rainy, but which is nice because you get the little feel from home, from being from Hawaii, and the hills here have starting to turn green. It's really pretty to go on hikes. It's a lot to do here. It's like I've never been bored here once. There's always like something to go do. You can go to the beach, go to like Montana de Oro, Pismo Beach, or Avila. You always have like friends who want to hang out over here with, and yeah, just many pretty hikes you can go to along as well.
So next up, we'll have Keith Humphrey for VP for Student Affairs. Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Terry. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Keith Humphrey. My pronouns are he, his, him. I'm very proud to be Vice President for Student Affairs at Cal Poly, and I want to add myself to the long list of people who are offering you congratulations on your admission to Cal Poly, and congratulations to the parents and supporters that are with us on this video chat. It's quite an accomplishment to get into a university like Cal Poly, and all of that hard work for the first 18 years of your life definitely paid off. You've heard some great things about Learn by Doing from our students and from our alumni about how it has impacted them. And I think Bryson said it really well about getting involved and starting to do things right away from your very first quarter at Cal Poly. And I think lots of universities will tell you that they do hands-on work, or yes, they have labs or things of that nature. But I think the complete emphasis on learning through doing really sets Cal Poly apart. We don't do the theoretical and then let you practice it when you get on the job. We mix the theoretical with the practical for you right away from the very first day. And what we hear time and time again from the employers that come to recruit our students is that when they get on the job, Cal Poly students are 6 to 9 months ahead of any other student that they've hired. And that means that our graduates are successful early in their careers and are able to move quickly up the career ladder in whatever organization they choose to serve. So we're always incredibly proud of them. And I'll talk more about career when I finish. My job on campus is really to help make sure that the quality of your out of class experience matches the quality of that in-class experience. And we do that in so many ways in student affairs, helping you form relationships with others, get donuts at Slodoko like you're seeing on the screen, learning about different perspectives, different ways that people see the world and make meaning, and just make sure that you are connecting and engaging deeply with everything that Cal Poly has to offer. We do that first by really focusing on creating community, a sense of belonging, and cultural competency with students that are part of our university. We really work hard to center issues of diversity and belonging, not just in the areas that are our cultural centers and our multicultural center and our LGBTQ center, but throughout all of the programs and services that we offer students at Cal Poly, because issues of social justice, diversity, and equity are clearly some of the most present pressing challenges that our society faces, and things that we need to have our students step up and become part of the solution. When we center that throughout everything, students have richer, more meaningful, more personalized experiences. Nate told you he's living on campus right now. All of our first year students live on campus and get to choose a living learning community that they want to affiliate with, whether that's a living learning community that's affiliated with their college, maybe an interest based on community service or identity. There are lots of choices for first year students. We weren't able to do that this year because of some COVID related restrictions, but we are hoping to bring that back next year when we're back in person, back at regular operational status. The residence halls bring you on-site counselors, academic support, faculty who hold office hours in the residence halls. It's why we believe so deeply in the residential experience that we are moving to require all second year students to live on campus. And if you're a student who is admitted for this fall and you live in, you're in the College of Architecture, the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, or the College of Engineering, you're going to be required to live on campus for 2 years because the outcomes for you are just so much better. We also, I mentioned engagement, and it's been really hard to engage one-on-one with students personally, face-to-face during COVID, but we have done a ton of events virtually for students. And I would encourage all of you, your downloading now app and checking out the What's Up Now guide. That guide has over 500 weekly events that are happening for students virtually. And you can only imagine how those will translate back into in-person experiences when we're back together as a community in the fall. Another way that we help you build community is really through helping you build social and civic engagement opportunities. We know for so many of our students, doing service is important and critical to their experience. And so our Center for Service and Action will help you get connected with local service opportunities, as well as national and international service opportunities. That extends through to our Center for Leadership. We want to make sure that that fabulous technical education and that hands-on education is matched with equally top-notch leadership skills so that you can excel even further. And so we have a Center for Leadership that offers a wide range of programs and services for students, because not everybody can be a positional leader. We have one student body president, but we want to make sure that everybody goes out and has fantastic leadership skills to offer. And that includes if you want to get involved in our student government. Now, health and well-being is definitely top of everyone's mind right now, as we're all in our different locations and behind different Zoom screens. And not able to be together in person. But health and well-being has always been a critical emphasis for us at Cal Poly, because we know that if we're not taking care of your health and well-being, you're not going to be able to maximize learn by doing. You're not going to be able to engage deeply with students and connect to the over 400 clubs and organizations that we have on campus. In a normal year, we'd see over 30,000 students in medical care visits, and our 21 counselors would see almost 7,000 student visits for individual or group therapy. There's all sorts of things that we offer you to help take care of you. The emphasis right now, of course, has been on the over 130,000 COVID tests that we have offered our students, faculty, and staff to help maintain a healthy campus community. And students who live on campus, like Nate, get an opportunity several times a week to be blunt, spit into a tube. And that's a faculty developed COVID-19 PCR test, where students just literally walk up, spit into a tube, and we can quickly, within a matter of hours, know whether that student has tested positive for COVID-19 or not. That while we take care of them when folks have tested positive, one of the exciting things about that project is that the lab is operated primarily by students. And so we've turned this in very true Cal Poly fashion, turned the pandemic into a major learn by doing opportunity for our students to run the tests and help keep our community safe. Now, I mentioned career services to you earlier, and that is a major emphasis of what we offer students outside the classroom. And that doesn't start for you at the end of your career when you're becoming a senior and thinking about what you want to do. We have an entire freshman focus to make sure that our first year students are connecting early in their college career with the college counselor from their major in college, so that they're developing plans for internships, choosing the classes that help move where they want to go, and exploring all of the different avenues of lead. We know we're strong. We have over 12,000 come to campus either for career fairs or to interview every year. And that number has only grown. And what's exciting about that number is it sustains during economic downturns. When other universities have to make choices, when other employers have to make choices about where they're going to recruit, Cal Poly always remains at the top of their list, even when it's in the economic downturn of 2008, 2009, and in some of the very tough choices that employers have had to make during the pandemic. And that's simply because the outcomes of our amazing academic experience are so strong that everybody wants to get Cal Poly students into their organization as quickly as they can. You can see on the screen, 93% of our students are what we call positively engaged. That means that they're working in a field or studying in a field directly related to their major. And then 4 out of 5 of them have a job before graduation, with 2/3 of our students having a job 6 months or more before graduation, which is something that not only puts students' minds at ease, but it also puts the parents and supporters' minds at ease. But 100% of our students are either in a job or in graduate school, doing what they want to do within 9 months of graduation. So the outcomes are really strong of both the in-class experience and the out-of-class experience at Cal Poly. So I will just close where I started by just saying congratulations to all of you. You should be really proud of what you've accomplished. And we really hope that you're going to become a part of our community in the fall. I'll turn it back over to Terry, and I look forward to taking questions.
Thank you, Keith, and thank you for all the panelists. We're going to now open it up to questions. So if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. I'm actually going to stop my share so that we can actually see everyone, all of the panelists, and as they're answering the questions. So as I'm waiting for our attendees, all of you, to share your questions in the Q&A, please put in the Q&A. I have a few questions that I do want to ask some of our panelists. So first of all, Nate, hi, I just wanted to ask, what do you do for fun? Like, what have you been up to in your first year for fun, well, in SLO or on campus or around campus?
Okay, so for fun, I usually go back to, I do a hike probably every weekend. I go up to like Poly Canyon. I go up there, I go to a Serenity Swing. If it's during like the week, I just go up to the Poly P for sunset. Other than that, I'd say I probably go to the beach a lot with my friends. I go to Avila, Pismo to play volleyball. Around campus, there's a lot of fields and there's like some beach courts. There's basketball courts. Yeah, I'm always trying to stay physical and active. A lot of the studying sometimes catches up to me, so I just gotta take a little quick break, study break, and yeah.
Okay, well, thanks. Our first question is campus open for fall visits or open now for visits? Right now, we don't have any organized visits on our campus. The campus itself is open, but because of COVID, we want to make sure that that everyone's following the CDC guidelines and keeping our students safe as well as any visitors. Keith, did you want to chime in?
Well, Terry, and I wanted to add to that because it probably raises the question about what fall will look like at Cal Poly for our admitted students, and just so that folks know, our plans are to be back as close to normal operations as possible for fall. No one knows what normal will be like after this pandemic. I've looked at the class offerings for fall. And we're averaging between 80 and 85% of our classes are currently scheduled to be in person for our students. That's very exciting. I saw Bryson was like, oh, that's good. I'm excited to hear that. We are planning to occupy our residence halls at about 95% of normal occupancy. So first year students will be in doubles and in triples. Our summer orientation slow days will be both hybrid and in person, so people can choose what they feel comfortable with. And our world famous week of welcome that you heard Emily talk about will be back in person in September for our community. And so we're excited to be back together with everyone.
Great, thanks, Keith. Emily, I do have a question that I always talk about and I always ask you is, first of all, how do you get from Hawaii to California and then from the airport in California to campus?
Yeah, so there's many ways to get onto campus. There is a regional airport, the San Luis Obispo Airport, SVP, where you can fly directly. So there are flights from Honolulu that allows you to go directly to the regional airport. If not, there are other options where you fly into other cities such as like San Francisco, Oakland, or LA, and then you can just take like the bus or the Amtrak train and go to SLO. There is a program called the Cal Poly Rideshare where upperclassmen offers rides to students who are looking for a ride. So if, let's say they live in LA and they can offer a ride, say like, $15 for a ride from LA to San Luis Obispo at the specific time. And if you're interested, you can reach out to them and catch a ride and go back to campus that way.
Emily, how often is that the way you do it most of the time?
Yeah, when back in my first year before COVID and everything, that's how I did it most of the time because it was a lot cheaper to fly directly to like San Francisco or LA than directly to the regional airport. But yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. Thank you for letting us know. Some other questions that have come through, and it looks like, Bryson, I'm not sure if you're actually answering, but what does a typical week look like for a Cal Poly engineering major?
I feel like we can both answer it because I'd assume we'd have different, I don't know the word for it, different experiences. Sorry. But yeah, for me, when I was typing it out, I was saying I have a lot of long nights of studying. I've definitely had some situations where I'd pull an all-nighter. Every time I've done that, it was definitely because I was not being good at being a good student. So that was usually on me. Every so often it was professors just like piling all in at once, coincidentally. But yeah, usually if you work diligently, you apply yourself a lot, you'll have time at the end of the week to just hang out with your friends, do whatever you want. The biggest thing I would say, and I'm pretty sure this goes for every major, don't fall behind. A lot of classes will snowball, and you can trust me when I tell you it hurts everything. Your grade, other classes are going to hurt. Social life's going to hurt. That class is going to hurt. So just keep on it. If your professor tells you you have 4 weeks to do something, it's probably because it needs 4 weeks or at least 3 weeks to do it. So be diligent.
Emily, did you want to chime in with that person?
Yeah, two of my close friends at Cal Poly, one was an electrical engineer, and the other one is a computer engineering major. So I was able to hear all their stories about being an engineering major, but they really did make a lot of cool things. Like their first year, their first class at Cal Poly, they were making like robots or programming through Arduino or just anything of those sorts. But at the end of the week, we were still able to go out together, have some dinner, or just have like a movie night in. So yeah, the course load is a bit heavy and the concepts are a bit tough, but you can manage and you can still have time at the end of the week to spend with your friends.
Great. And then this one is for Nate. Can you talk about what the School of Business is like? I know this is your first year, but what kind of experiences have you had?
Well, I think it's really cool that we get put into our major oriented classes like right away. So I've taken business classes so far, economics classes, and yeah, it's just really cool learning like right now, last quarter or winter quarter, I had a business and law class, Biz 207, which is really interesting, learning about contracts, leases, all kinds of stuff that is like very will be very common like in my future of business as like when I graduate and when I apply for jobs. So it is very like it connects to the future, like your future profession for sure, which I really like about.
Keith, you wanted to add on all of that?
Thanks. Thanks, Terry. And
Oh, Keith, you're cutting out in and out a bit.
Known for engineering. Let me try this, see if that helps a little bit. The question was about, we're known for engineering, but what's the business school like? And I think an important thing for all of our admitted students and families to know is the importance of being a comprehensive polytechnic and how the poly really influence all of the other degrees and influence our hiring of our graduates. We have Oracle, for example, targets 10 universities in the country to hire students, and they chose Cal Poly as one of the 10 universities, with universities like MIT and Stanford on that list. And you would think that they were coming to us for our engineers. They were not. They were coming to us not only for our engineers, but for our business students and our liberal arts students, because of how those students are able to interact and work in a technical world. So the schools, the different majors really influence each other tremendously.
Chris, I just wanted to get your feedback as well as somebody who has been in the field for a while, who's been a Cal Poly alum, and looking at our graduates coming out. Like, what's your take on that?
Well, I want to also address the time schedule thing, and then I see that Nate has a great comment in here about Cal Poly students are really great at time management, and I fully agree. And that again, I think leads to that confidence. Yes, you're throwing a lot of stuff. Yes, there's a lot of work, but there's great collaboration and camaraderie with fellow students, and so that totally carries over to the work place. And so I know that if I'm hiring an intern that graduated from Cal Poly, that I don't need to babysit them as much, because I know that if they don't have the answer, they'll either be quick to ask or they'll find it on their own. And I don't need to worry about them so much versus some other students. And, what I love about Cal Poly students is the learn by doing is very universal, that it's the same methodology of or the learn by doing methodology applies to every college. So that problem solving, that fearless creativity, what I've seen from business students and architecture students and other students that graduate from Cal Poly, it's all the same. It's just applied to different fields. And so I think you learn that base problem solving ability and you can be successful, at least from my experience.
Well, thank you for sharing. Has anyone, any of the students, are you on a pre-med track, or any of your friends on a pre-med track? How about researching, shadowing, volunteering?
Carrie, I can try to answer that if my internet holds.
Okay.
Kind of funny that the internet's not working for the vice president of Polytechnic University. Not a good show for us, right? So I'm not on campus, so the internet on campus is just fine where Nate is. You know what? We have several hospitals in town that students do a lot of shadowing and volunteering and working with many medical professionals throughout the San Luis Obispo community. When I have a part-time job at one of the hospitals, and I was getting my vaccine alongside about 15 other students who were also getting their vaccine so that they could go back to shadowing and doing their pre-med work in the hospital. So I think our faculty, in addition to research like the saliva-based COVID testing lab and things like that that are plentiful, make strong connections to the medical community throughout San Luis Obispo.
Thank you for asking that question. And also for study abroad and for study abroad programs. So we do have a great study abroad program, and the cost is a cost in addition to the Cal Poly's full year tuition. So in the chat, you'll see that Ryan included some information about that, and it wouldn't be necessarily in addition, but it'll have some of the breakdown information on that website. The different cost programs, different programs cost differently. So is any of you planning to go study abroad? Bryson, Emily, Nate? Nate, have you looked into study abroad yet?
I have not, but I don't think it is open until like next year.
Yeah, right now we're just holding off and waiting yet.
Yeah, I plan to go like my junior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, did you by any chance go on study abroad?
Yeah, I traveled. So architecture is a 5-year program, and it's encouraged for most of us to travel during our 4th year. So top 2 programs for us were Florence or Denmark. I ended up studying in Denmark for a full academic year, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. But it was definitely encouraged, and and costs do vary. Obviously, Europe was expensive, but I mean there was a great local experiences, or even through either San Francisco, DC, and several other cities that you could travel to other cities, get that experience working at different firms, and that counted towards your classes. So for architecture, at least, there was a lot of great experiences for that.
Thank you. This is a question specifically for Emily. How much computer science experience did you have prior to SLO, examples, classes, etc.?
That's a good question. Prior to SLO, I actually had absolutely no experience. So I didn't take any computer science class at my high school at Sacred Hearts Academy. I didn't do robotics. I didn't join any like coding clubs or anything. So I came in completely fresh and completely new. But with that being said, that's completely okay. The computer science program is structured to help those students adapt and learn how to code without any previous knowledge. So one of your first classes you take is a coding in Python class, and it was a little bit tough to adjust to, but the professors were extremely kind. There's a lot of other resources like tutoring that you can go to, and they're so helpful. They help you like with your code, they help you with your design, and it's really easy.
Well, thank you. I'm going to start off with Nate for this question, and then I'm going to ask Emily and Brayson, and maybe even Chris. What is housing at Cal Poly like? What do the dorms look like? So I'm going to start off with Nate.
Okay, so I'm in Santa Lucia Red Bricks. We do get the most hate on campus probably for just dorms. I'm in a double. I got placed in a double, but like for this quarter and this school year, we're all like by ourselves. So I have a double to myself. Right now, it's been amazing. I have no complaints. It's great having all this room and extra space and privacy. But I would see maybe some like it wouldn't be so hard sharing this kind of room with two people. Like it's definitely doable. There's other rooms in like Yakatutu where there are quads, there's triples, there's even doubles. The sizes do vary like, depending on how many people per room. So more people per room would be like a bigger room. And yeah, we all have communal bathrooms. Some dorms do both like both genders and gender neutral bathrooms. But my floor at San Lucia is gender inclusive. So it's not so bad. It's not as bad as people make it seem. I'll say that for sure. I have no complaints.
Bryson, where did you live your first year?
I lived in the Yosemite dorms. I think they're the second oldest on campus, maybe third, not sure. But they're kind of known for being quote unquote the prison dorms. There's a lot of rumors going around about that on who built it, who designed it. But it's overall actually a pretty nice place. It's fairly comfortable. The temperature was never a real issue for me. And like before I came in, people were saying like, oh, during the summertime it gets really hot. It kind of didn't, which surprised me. But I think for me, the biggest thing I took out of the dorming situation was the friends I made. We're all still in contact. We all hang out whenever we can. I think one of my best friends, she lived on my floor, and yeah, it's kind of surprising. I didn't expect to make friends in my dorm, but some of the closest people the people I'm closest to now came from that situation. So yeah, dorming is really cool actually.
Okay, Chris, do you remember where you lived when you were on campus?
Yeah, so I was in Sequoia, so the architecture dorms, the one right on the corner, the red bricks. And yeah, it was great. I had a roommate who was also architecture, and so I guess wanted to address the all-nighter thing that I think Bryson mentioned earlier, and I think architects have that reputation of never sleeping and pulling a lot of all-nighters, and I would say, yes, there's a lot of work, but I think, as Nate has also said, it's, I mean, looking back, I think we did it because it was fun. Like we stayed up and you socialized and you did projects together, and I mean, yes, it was hard work, but I mean, it was memorable because you were doing that with other guys, other people, and it was just, you built such a great experience. And I think for architecture, at least, it was almost that like a badge of courage to stay up. And so I think we just did it just because it was a challenge. And but as it got to the later years and we would stay long hours in the studio, most of it was because of the great conversations we were having, whether about architecture or whether about just friendships. And because the architecture program was so large, you just built such great friendships. And I actually still do keep in touch with one of my dorm floor mates to this day. So even though that was a long time ago. So
Thanks. Emily, where did you live?
I lived in the Sierra Madre dorms, which are similar to the Yosemite dorms. This was the College of Engineering dorms as well. I really enjoyed it. I lived in a triple, so the space was a bit tight, but it wasn't uncomfortable at all. Like, it didn't feel small. I had plenty of space, a lot of storage too for your mini coats and hoodies and stuff. And it was really nice. My dorm, so it was, each floor was a different gender. So my floor was all females, and then the floor below us was all males, and then the floor below them was all females. So it's like a nice little sandwich. And the entire floor, like, we would have movie nights every now and then. So there are like little community areas in our dorms where, with couches and with desks, where you can like collaborate with other students if you were in the same classes, which I did many times, and just hang out and chill over there.
I just wanted to say, Emily, since you're on, somebody, one of our questions is, could you talk about some of your projects in computer science?
Yeah. So I guess some of the projects, well, it depends. So my intro to computer science classes, they're mainly like smaller projects, like you write a program to calculate the speed it takes for a spaceship to land on the moon and those type of things. So simple like top-down design. You learn how to test through your code and you learn how to review your code. Some of the more upper level classes, you do bigger projects. So these classes are in different languages, such as like Java or C or machine code or assembly language. Some of these projects you'll be working with are like data structures, which is a really big thing in the industry, and you'll hear about it. Some other projects involve algorithms and those type of things. So you do get a lot of experience, and it does come in handy.
So I'm going to ask Bryson right now, is the majority of the work individual projects or team-based projects?
So for those of you who don't know, CPE is like a weird combination of computer science and electrical engineering. So on the EE side, most of our projects were group projects. I very rarely have had any projects that were individual for EE. For CS, it really does depend on your teacher or your professor, and it does matter on what the specific project is. A lot of the projects are individual, like you'll have like 10 projects per quarter, about one a week, and maybe 8 of them will be individual, and 2 of them are going to be group projects. And then in some classes, you'll have it where you have a group to work with, but each of you would do code on your own. So you can go to your group for questions on how did you approach this aspect of it, or I have a bug here, did any of you encounter this? So it really does depend on the class. It depends on everything. But I would say overall, it's about an even split.
And Nate, how about you so far? Is it group or individual work?
It's been a mix between both. I did have to do a couple group projects for stats. I had to do a presentation. I'd say a good like individual group or project you have to do would be for like communications, comms, and public speaking. And I also got in place with like a group project I had to do for public speaking as well. So it is very mixed, for sure.
Okay, Chris, do you work with the students, or are you familiar with what the first year architecture students are doing? That project where the big project they do?
I don't know what current projects that they work on. But when I was first year, projects were basically individual, but because we all had the same problem, and there was, architecture is not like math where there's not one right answer. So we would all get together and we would talk it through, look at the examples, and we'd work together even if it was individual projects. As you get up into the later years, it is a mix, where you may do certain analysis for a site together, since it's shared information, and then from there everybody develops their own solutions. So it is a mix.
Okay, well, thank you. That's all. I mean, great. I'm going to ask all of our guests today. Anyone else have any questions? Please feel free to put in the Q&A. But before we end, I would like everyone, if you can, Bryson, Keith, if you can do it, Emily and Chris, and Nate, if you can tell us if you have one tip or something to tell our great audience about Cal Poly that you want to share with everyone, please do so. I'm going to do it in order that I see you on my screen. So let's start with Bryson.
I feel like the one tip that I have, or the biggest tip I have, is ask for help. It's something that I used to have a big problem with, and I still have somewhat of an issue with that. But don't be ashamed to ask for help, especially when you're falling behind. It can be a bit. It felt gross to me. It still feels a little bit gross to me, but at least I feel better about it. I know what I'm doing now, and I passed the class. So yeah.
Keith, any tips for students?
Thanks, Terry Ann. I would encourage our students to just come to a place like Cal Poly and be prepared to open every door. There are so many opportunities to try new things, to experience things that you never thought you would experience. So come with an open mind, be ready to be transformed, and have a great time.
Nate?
Kind of based off what Keith said, come here with like open-minded, open personality. Try to meet and branch out as much people as you can. It's like really good to make new connections, have more friends. You can never have enough friends. And yeah, it's a very social place. I'm really enjoying being here.
Chris?
Yeah, just to echo everything that's been said, both, explore. I mean, the Central Coast is such a beautiful area. I mean, I hardly knew anything about the area before attending SLO. And as Nate said, there's beautiful scenery everywhere, hikes, beaches. You can go so many places if you have the time. And on campus, there's so many clubs, so many people, that the more people you engage with, the more you'll find either similar people or people that had interests that you didn't know that you had shared with. And as Bryson was saying, I would also encourage everyone, especially during this time, is ask for help. I think in these times, people may tend to feel like they're the only one feeling something or only one going through something. But I mean, you'll find that if you're feeling something, somebody else is probably feeling the same way. So friends are there for support in addition to fun. So reach out, explore, but remember, you're not alone in any of this.
Thank you. And Emily?
Yeah, just again, echoing what everyone said, don't forget to have fun. The learning curve was a bit steep jumping from high school to college, but yeah, there is a lot of a heavy course load, but just have fun with the process. These are your only years that you're going to be in college. After that, you're going to be in the real world working. So just try to make the most out of your time. Meet new students, meet new people, meet people from other countries or other states, and just hang out, but also at the same time, keep up with your studies and you'll be fine.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen again because I wanted to say congratulations, everyone. You've all been accepted. We hope that you'll be joining us. May 1st is a decision day. You can let us know before, but May 1st is the deadline, so please be aware of that. And if you have any questions following this, there's my contact information. I'm sure many of you already have it, but please feel free to take that down if you want to. Some of our upcoming events is Polyculture Weekend on April 2nd to 3rd, open house, virtual open house, April 8th to 15th, Instagram Live Mondays. We also have accepted student webinars and virtual visits as well. So please join us for any of those events so you can learn a little bit more about Cal Poly. And if my panelists, if you are interested, if you want to put your contact information in the chat so we can share that out, that would be great. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Please, again, feel free to reach out if you do have any questions. I'm always here. If you want to connect with any of our panelists in the future, please just contact me and I can try to make that connection for you as well. Thank you everyone for joining us and have a great day.
Hi there, my name is Rafael. I'm a fourth year journalism transfer student with a minor in Spanish, and my pronouns are he, him, his. Thank you for watching the video. Please share any questions or comments you have down below in the comment section and go ahead and click here to subscribe. And to watch more videos, click here. If you want to sign up for a virtual visit or talk to any student or staff members, check out our website. Link in the description. Thank you for watching.